Coming up on the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show today, we're going to be talking about interesting facts about the plant hemp.
We're also going to talk about proper ways to store your produce, whether it be in your fridge, on the counter, or somewhere else. And we also have guest Marie Viljoen, and she is a blogger, author, and has great information for us.
Plus your garden questions, and that all starts right now.
Welcome to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show. So glad you've taken time out of your day to join us on the program, whether you're in Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Southeast Michigan, Banning, California, or around the country, around the world, listening via the simple radio app, the TuneIn app, or through the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com website under the radio tab, podcast replay, or in-studio video replay. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Joy Barrett. Beside me is my wife, co-host, best friend, and gardening partner,
Holly Baird.
You can find all of our content at said website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, where we can have contained over 1,400 garden videos, short and long format in the garden, and every segment full and short of this radio show over the last 95 episodes. The executive sponsor of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show is Power Planter.
Planting conditions are always favorable with the Power Planter Earth Auger. No matter what the job is, Power Planter has the right size for you. Simply attach to a drill and let the Power Planter do the work for you. Create planting holes fast and efficiently with ease. No matter the soil type, it does the job effortlessly. Increase your root to soil contact. Leave the shovel and the spade in the shed. Hand welded and made in the USA, and we offer a lifetime warranty on product defects. Find the size that fits your project at powerplanter.com.
You can certainly get a hold of us in a variety of different ways, and they all revolve around the IV Organics communication hotlines.
IV Organics 3-in-1 Plant Guard naturally protects your plants against damaging sunburn, insects, and rodents, protects newly installed plants and trees, shields pruned and damaged surfaces, for use on your roses, fruit and nut trees, ornamental trees, and shrubs. This product is non-toxic, environmentally safe, and organic. For more information, visit ivorganics.com. You can send us an email through the IV Organics 3-in-1 Plant email inbox. That email address is twvgshow@gmail.com. You can also send us a text on the Instant Access IV Organics 3-in-1 Plant Guard Instant Access text hotline. Send your questions. Text us at 414-368-9311. Again, the text number is 414-368-9311.
Well, before we get in the program, we do want to make a little announcement. To our surprise, Holly and myself, I think it was this midweek this past week, we were tagged on Facebook, and that's how we get all of our information nowadays. It's through Facebook. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show podcast version has been nominated for 3 different categories through the Wisconsin Podcast Festival Choice Awards from the Wisconsin Podcast Association. Our program is nominated for Best Business Podcast, Best Food Podcast, and Best of the Year Podcast. Now, you can we ask for your vote, because we'd sure like to win one of these awards. So here's what you have to do.
It would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Here's what you have to do. Just go to our website. That's the easiest avenue. I've got everything tagged at the top of the page, so you'll be easily able to find it. And just click on the Vote Now tab, or the link. It's a SurveyMonkey tab. You have one opportunity to vote. There's 10 different categories. We're in 3 of them. Submit it, and that's one and done. And you will have helped us take the steps in order to win one of, or if all of, the Wisconsin Podcast Choice Awards from the Wisconsin Podcast Association. So did not know that was a thing. Did not know we were nominated until we were tagged on Facebook, and we would appreciate your vote on that. Awards come out early September for that particular awards there. So let's talk about the topic of the day, which is hemp, the plant of hemp. And we want to start to clarify that hemp and the marijuana plant are different. These are not the same plant.
No, they're not the same plant. They are in the cannabis family, or it's Cannabaceae. I think that's how you pronounce it. Another plant in that family. So there's hemp, there's marijuana, and another plant under that umbrella is also the hops plant as well.
So when you say under the umbrella, are they the same variety? They're the same family, but is it like having 3 tomato plants, but they're all different? You know, red tomato, a purple tomato.
It's kind of like maple trees.
Okay.
So like there's silver maple, there's sugar maple, I think there's Japanese maple. So it's kind of like that. So it's like they produce different things. Like sugar maple, you get maple syrup from, and silver maple are just pretty silvery leaves. So yes and no, they're kind of in the same family, but they're not the same plant.
Okay, so let's talk about facts here, or information about the hemp plant that people may not be familiar with, that really are pretty fascinating when you get down to the actual basis of what it is capable and is used for.
Yeah, so hemp is actually thought to be the first domestically cultivated plant, which means that, like, throughout the years, purposely plant. So before maybe people would forage or whatever, this is something that goes back to probably about 8,000 years ago, found in Turkey, which was Mesopotamia at the time. Now, hemp products are legal in the United States, though the ingredients or the end products are currently imported from other countries, mostly Canada.
So it's legal to use it in the United States. They are now allowing farmers in certain states to actually grow agriculturally the plant of hemp. It's heavily regulated through the USDA, and there's a whole lot of red tape that goes along with it. But currently, everything that we use, we have to import from Canada at this particular thing. Also, the hemp products that we use, the creams and the other items that you get, again, since they're not the same plant as marijuana, the hemp plant does not contain the THC that you would find in marijuana. That is the active ingredient that creates that, people say, that high that they get. So the hemp plant, you do not have to worry about that because it doesn't contain that element in the actual plant itself.
Right. That's correct. So, yeah. A fun fact here is that Benjamin Franklin used hemp in his paper mill, which is one of the country's first paper mill, and the first 2 copies of the Declaration of Independence were supposedly written on hemp paper.
So marijuana plants cannot be hidden among hemp plants. If somebody was, because on the farm growing up, back in southern Illinois, where I'm from, you would hear stories that, in the middle of a cornfield, a farmer would be harvesting crops in the fall, and they would find like
a pot of marijuana.
A plot. Yeah, they would go in there and hack down the corn and then hide it in there. You can't do that with hemp. I mean, you can't intermingle the 2 plants together to hide one for the other.
No, so marijuana...
It's not a polyculture, a plant.
Right. We would know the difference. So marijuana is like a shorter, bushier plant, and hemp is a taller, it's growing for the stalks, for the fiber.
More of a slender.
Yeah, so marijuana might get like 5 to 10 feet tall. Hemp is going to get 10 to 15 feet tall.
Well, hemp can grow nearly anywhere in the world in many different types of soil, even in short growing seasons or even dry regions. So it's a very, very adaptable plant for what we can use it for. Different studies or different articles that we have found and you can find online says that the hemp plant can be used to make 25 to 50,000 different products, or are involved in the making or incorporated in that many different products throughout the world. Now, it's much more used in other countries in the making of certain products than the United States. The United States is far behind in the manufacturing uses of hemp.
So the cool thing about hemp is that you can grow it in it doesn't have to be grown in the best soil. You can grow it in kind of crappy soil, but also it's 120 days till it's mature, essentially. So it has a pretty short season. That's 4 months. 4 months, yeah. And it can be harvested.
And hemp can be used, as you talked about, into paper. So let's take this little scenario. You have an acre of ground. You plant hemp. Takes 120 days to reach maturity. You can harvest it and make paper out of it. Or you can grow an acre of trees, wait 20 years, harvest it, and make paper out of it.
Right. Also, hemp it doesn't need pesticides to grow. So, it's kind of resistant to a lot of bugs.
Naturally.
And rodents, yep. So it's not something that requires those pesticides. And
now, the theory or the conspiracy theory of why we don't have a lot of paper in the United States that is manufactured from hemp is because there's major paper companies that have been fighting that legislation for a number of years to prevent that from happening because, as I just illustrated, the quickness that the hemp will grow can put some of these companies out of business, the paper companies, because, hey, instead of using trees, we can use this plant as the manufacturing basis of paper, and you no longer have a company because we don't need your trees.
Right, and also the people who work for the companies, and
it's
paper mills, yep.
Deep pockets legislation.
Those are in respect to the fact that there's a ton of paper mills in Wisconsin.
Right.
We have to respect the fact that people do have jobs and things.
Right, I understand that.
And so, hemp
from an environmental standpoint, I'm speaking of the quickness of the return on investment, the less of the environmental impact that one can have with growing the
That's true, but just like anything with change, there's going to be resistance.
Right.
And
with both hemp as paper and trees as paper, there's pros and cons to both levels that we're not going to get into. We're just stating some facts here.
But aside from the paper use and the less water that goes into it and time, whatever, hemp has the longest plant fiber in the world, so it can be used, that plant fiber can be used like cloth for like ropes and also for netting and for making into bags and things like that. It has cloth-like qualities.
So it's like a long string inside of the stalk is what you're referring to as a plant fiber.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why it can be used to make anything from, it has a strong fiber also, and it's got like a composite material, so it can be make anything from skateboard decks to car parts and stealth fighter bodies. So if you could have a hemp stealth plane.
Yeah, absolutely, because of the tensile strength of that and the intensity of that.
It's to me, it's kind of like a really cool weed because it grows pretty well.
It kind of has the same properties of carbon fiber to a certain extent.
But what I'm saying is that it's not a plant that needs to be babied.
Right.
So it's like a weed in a sense, because
plant, forget, come back and harvest.
Yeah, weeds are kind of resilient, and that's how hemp it seems to me to be.
What else is about the hemp plant that we maybe are not familiar with?
So one thing is that Henry Ford, he created a plastic car in 1941.
A plastic car or hemp car?
A plastic car.
Okay.
But it ran on hemp and other plant-based fuels. And
that wouldn't go today.
No, and the hemp was also made with, or the fenders were made with hemp, so that was like a plastic material.
Hemp used to be very popular and very much cultivated in the United States many years ago. 1800s, the state of Kentucky produced half of the industry's hemp in the United States. So, regulations and restrictions started to be implemented on the production of hemp in the United States in the 20th century.
So here's another fun fact: is that so we all know about the Victory Gardens, or most of us know about the Victory Gardens. During World War II, people were encouraged to grow their own food. There was a movement called Hemp for Victory, encouraging farmers to grow hemp for their country because of its multiple uses. And at one point during the war, there was over 100,000 acres of hemp growing in the U.S.
There you go.
But after World War II ended, then they got rid of those permits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there are some interesting facts that you may not know about hemp, the plant. So it is making a comeback in certain parts of the United States, and we may see it in the use of products again on a much larger scale. Well, when we come back, the topic of the right way to store our produce. There's many different ways in which we can store our produce. There's some wrong ways to store our produce, and we're going to go over the right ways, whether you're getting it from the farmer's market or you're getting it from your garden or even an organic grocery store. Do not go anywhere. You're listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show.
Got a question? Email the show at twvgshow@gmail.com.
Take the pain out of planting with the Pro Plugger 5-in-1 planting tool. Step, twist, pull, and you're ready to plant. Digs perfect size planting holes. Soil gets stored in the tube and empties from the top. Helpful for weeding. ProPlugger.com. Do you have a problem with deer or small herbivores eating your vegetation? There is a natural solution that is safe for your pets and family. Bobex is the answer. An environmentally friendly solution to protect your plants, will not wash off, and is guaranteed. Bobex Deer was independently tested against 9 known competitors and rated 93% effective, second only to a physical barrier. Bobex can be used on all types of ornamentals, trees, and shrubs. Ask for it by name at your local independent garden center. Find out more, visit Bobex.com. BOBBEX.com. Spending time scrubbing pesky dirt off your hands after gardening? Use Workman's Friend Superior Skin Cream with added barrier protection, creating a protective layer on your skin surface, allowing for easy cleanup, all while moisturizing and healing your skin. Non-greasy, fragrant-free, and fast-absorbing. Apply first, get to work, wipe clean. This friend has you covered for whatever you're getting into. Visit workmansfriendbrand.com.
Beans and Barley Market and Cafe, a neighborhood specialty grocery store for the east side and greater Milwaukee area, where you can find all you need, from fresh produce to bakery to organic frozen dinners, from wine to fresh squeezed carrot juice. A health food store with hundreds of products, vitamins, supplements, bath and body items, magazines, cards, books, and a knowledgeable staff. Catering available, open daily at 8 a.m. The restaurant serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week with a menu of good, healthy, homemade food, including vegetarian and non-vegetarian specialties. 1901 East North Avenue, Milwaukee, 414-278-7878, and online at beansandbarley.com.
Divide and get more. This garden tip is sponsored by BioSafe, organic solutions that are effective. They offer an array of eco-friendly products, from plant food to fertilizer to one-of-a-kind herbicides, organic weed killer. Grow stronger, healthier with BioSafe. Visit biosafe.net to learn more and save 10% on your next order by using coupon code TWVG at checkout. Late summer or early autumn is the best time to divide and transplant your spring blooming perennials. The most common divided perennials are irises, peonies, hostas, and daylilies. Shield and Seal vacuum sealers and the highest quality vacuum sealing products, unique black and clear and all black bags, protecting your produce and product better than traditional bags. Find out more at shieldandseal.com. Do you want fresh produce delivered right to your neighborhood? Check out Tree Ripe Citrus Company. Find out where to pick up quality produce at tree-ripe.com. They have beautiful, tasty peaches and juicy, sweet blueberries. If you're tired of the non-taste peaches and the bad blueberries from your local grocer, Tree Ripe has what you need. They come right to a stop in your neighborhood, fresh off the truck, right from the source. To find locations and schedules, visit tree-ripe.com. They're in Iowa, Michigan, Minnesota, Illinois, and right here in Wisconsin. Tree-ripe.com is your go-to place for the freshest produce around.
When it comes to bulk landscaping materials, Blue Mills Garden and Landscape Center is where everyone goes. Whatever the project, we have the materials you need with over 40 varieties to choose from. Soils, mulches, gravels, decorative stones, fresh cut sod. Blue Mills has these products in stock and ready for easy pickup or fast delivery. So what are you waiting for? Now is the time to get your yard back into shape. Stop in and pick these materials up or call us for delivery today. Nobody does bulk landscaping materials better than Blue Mills Garden and Landscape Center.
Blue Mills, 4930 West Loomis Road, 414-282-4220. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is brought to you by the following: Ivy Organics, Power Planter, Root Assassin, Beans and Barley, BioSafe, Bobex, Pomona Universal Pectin, Pro Plugger, Standard Process, Tomato Snaps. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden Radio Show with your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
Dr. Earth is committed to clean and healthy gardening through creating cutting-edge, natural, and organic-friendly products. Based on research and innovation, after 28 years, they are the leader in organic lawn and garden industry. They do not use ingredients such as biosolids or composted household waste or synthetic chemicals. Instead, they have manure-free fertilizers, organic soils, insect control, and liquid fertilizers. If you want to grow the best quality food organically to feed your family, that is the founding principles of what Dr. Earth is all about. They have experts to find the most innovative ways to help you grow your best organically. Visit drearth.com for more information on where to buy.
You get a lot of produce coming out of your garden. You've gone to the farmer's market. You've bought a lot of produce for a very little price, or you've gone to the local organic food store, such as Outpost or Beans and Barley, and you're getting fresh produce. What's the best way to store this? There are right ways and there are wrong ways to get the best longevity out of the harvest in which you have.
So we're not quite to apple season yet, but we will be there shortly.
About a month or so, yeah.
Yeah. So you would want to store your apples and your pears, also anything in that kind of, I think it's called the pome family. Apples or pears, store those in the fridge. They will soften 10 times faster at room temperature. However, on the flip side of that, if you get some pears, like we have a pear tree, but it's dying. But when we had a nice, happy pear tree, they would be a little tough when we harvested them. So if you store them in room temperature, they're going to soften a lot faster in the fridge. So you can use that to your advantage. Most fruits and vegetables can be stored in the fridge to give it longevity, but it's a matter of how.
When we talk longevity, what's the time frame? We're not talking months and months, right? We're talking weeks or
a lot of times it depends. So a lot of times it's for like regular normal fruits and vegetables, it's going to be a week longer, maybe a week and a half longer, 10 days, what have you.
Just enough to get that extra time for you to do what you need to do with it.
Right. However, something like root crops, if you keep them if you harvest your root crops, you keep the soil on them, you don't rinse them off, not including potatoes and not including onions or garlic or anything like that. So I'm talking about like beets, carrots, parsnips, rutabagas, turnips, all of those types of root crops. If you keep the soil on them and you put them in like a nice plastic type bag,
zip top
bag, then those will store a little bit longer. We had those carrots stored for how long?
A year.
Was it a year?
Yeah.
They're a little questionable, but you could probably get 6 months out of them.
Yeah.
And then
safely.
at that point, and then if you go beyond that, then you probably just want to put them in like a stew or something.
Well, some of the homesteaders, they'll take a wooden box or a crate, and they'll actually put sand in there, and they'll layer their root crops in that sand.
Yeah, you can do that.
And
then you can put it even in like a garage or something where it's towards the colder areas, but not
on the
freezing.
ground.
Yeah.
Because there's that radiation and that coolness from the concrete. If you put it on a shelf up above, heat rises, they're going to spoil much quicker.
Or like if you have maybe you have like a back hallway or something that gets maybe a little bit of a draft. So asparagus, if you want it to last longer, you can wrap it in a moist paper towel, or you can stand them up in a glass of water and then wrap that in the paper towel. So kind of like how it's coming out of the ground.
Now, all of these can be stored by canning, dehydrating, but we've covered that portion. We want to look at different alternatives of how to store the actual produce or fruit itself without breaking it down into a canned form.
Right, so we're talking about like maybe you just have this one crop and
you got a sweet deal on XYZ at the farmer's market for $4.
Just wherever, yeah, basically. So they do sell plastic like produce bags that have tiny little vents in those, and those are ideal for things like grapes, blueberries, cherries, strawberries, the more like soft-bodied fruits. Those are ideal, and those will keep longer in the fridge. Now, if you have fresh lettuce, it's actually best to wash it first, make sure it's dry, and then it's going to store longer for you.
Even out of your own garden?
Yep.
Okay.
So that's what's, and then you would use like, if it's not completely dry, you would take like a bag and put paper towel around it and then put it in there. Rhubarb can be wrapped in plastic and stored in the fridge. So like it seems like the stocky stuff like asparagus, rhubarb. What else is stocky?
Celery.
Celery.
But you can also freeze the rhubarb as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But
so those are all fridge items.
And if you're doing a lot of these, because we're as guilty as the next person, we put something in the fridge, and then 3 weeks to 3 months later, we find that item and try to have to identify what archived item was this, because it is no longer what it once was, because it's gotten shoved to the back and changed colors and sometimes slimy. Mm-hmm. So we have to get rid of it. So it happens to all of us. So keep in mind what you're putting in there, and try not, if you're going to go this route, we want to buy what we can consume in a reasonable amount of time. Just because you can get 60 pounds of apples for 50 cents a pound doesn't mean you have to buy them if you're not going to use them for an extended period of time.
Right, because sometimes you think you're saving money, but maybe you're actually throwing it away.
Yeah.
So bananas, tomatoes, potatoes, lemons, and limes, and other citrus fruits should be stored in a cool, dry place. So you want to keep that in mind. You don't want to put it directly on your kitchen table. If your kitchen table gets sun all day long, you want it to be like a cooler, dry place. A lot of times people will store this like underneath their cupboard on their counter because it's kind of dark and cool there. So yeah, that's one thing to keep in mind. Mushrooms, they're typically not stored in the fridge, but they can be stored in the fridge, and then you don't clean them until you're ready to use them.
Right. We see them in the refrigerated aisle, like in the canisters at the store, and sometimes you can get them, like you pick what you want in two different styles of storage at the grocery store, but they turn those over pretty quick.
And then potatoes, same thing. You do not want to put your potatoes in the fridge. It changes the molecular structure of it, and then if you store them in the fridge, it actually increases the carbohydrates. It increases the sugars in the potatoes, so you want to keep those out of the fridge.
Alters the taste.
It can alter the taste too, yeah. So in that case, you want to find a ventilated area that's in a cooler place with plenty, the ventilation.
Let's talk about tomatoes here. We're getting a lot of tomatoes. Some people are getting a lot of tomatoes. What's the best way to store tomatoes to get them the longest longevity out of them?
So you can store. You shouldn't put them in the fridge, but if you do put them in the fridge, you want to put them in like a zip top bag.
Okay.
Otherwise, if you are like, I'm going to can these tomatoes and I'm keeping them until I have enough, what you would do is you put those in a freezer bag, put them in the freezer, and then when you're ready to can, you would pull them out, let them thaw, and actually then they peel pretty good after that point. You don't have to blanch them if you're just going to freeze them for canning later. You just put them directly in the bag.
And we've done that. It's worked very well to gather up enough for what you need for.
So things like mangoes, plums, peaches can be ripened at room temperature, and then they can be put in the refrigerator for longer storage.
Yeah, we here in the Upper Midwest, I don't know if it's the same across the country, grocery stores have had an abundance of mangoes for a very, very low price. So that's one way to store it that way.
Another fun thing I learned learned recently is the pineapple, if you store it, you're supposed to store it upside down. And what happens is because of how it ripens from the bottom to the top, and that way it kind of makes the sweetness better throughout. So
do we take the green stalk portion or the headpiece off and flip it upside down? We leave that on and just set it upside down.
You gotta make yourself a pineapple hanger.
Okay.
You don't have to do that, but you don't want to cut the top off completely
because that will expose the fruit itself. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, but if you have to cut part of it off, or maybe if you have like we have wiry shelves in our fridge, maybe you could like jam it in there or something.
And it's the same thing with this produce. If you're harvesting it, you want to leave a little chunk of the stalk on because, for example, if you take a cucumber and just pull it from the vine, you've opened up that top portion that the vegetable is exposed to the air. You want to leave a little stem to encapsulate that top.
Right.
Yeah. Same thing with pumpkins or melons or whatever the case is.
That's a good fact to know. If you like, I like pineapple, and I would prefer it to be the sweetest. So that's good to know. You flip it over before you're ready to eat it.
Well, Holly, we've got some guests that are in our garden now. It's summertime, midsummer, and we're being invaded with those nasty Japanese beetles, and they're wreaking havoc on our vegetation.
I don't know if I would call them guests because we didn't invite them.
Unwanted guests.
If you're looking to successfully control beetles without damaging the environment, look no further than Beetle Gone from Phylum Bioproducts. Derived from a naturally occurring bacteria, Beetle Gone is the only organic solution that successfully controls beetle invaders. Just mix the powder and with water and spray it on your plants. Once ingested, the targeted pests will stop feeding and die. And since it's an organic BT product, you know it's a great choice to use on your fruits and veggies in addition to your ornamental flowers and trees.
Not only does Beetle Gone work, but the best thing about this product is that it is safe to use around your beneficials such as ladybugs and butterflies and bees. And it has no issue with water toxicity. Beetle Gone from PhylumBioproducts.com. That's PhylumBioproduct.com. PhylumBioproducts.com. And for a limited time, get $10 off your purchase using coupon code 10OFF. TENOFF. When we come back, do not go anywhere. Guest and author Marie Viljoen will be with us from the New York area. You can always find more out about the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener at our website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, where you can find all of our informational-based videos as well as contact information. Do not go anywhere. You're listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show.
Use Twitter to reach Joey and Holly at TWVG Show or hashtag TWVG.
Power Planter is a family-owned earth auger manufacturer. The Power Planter Earth Auger will transform your garden experience. It helps homeowners and professionals complete almost any planting or digging project faster and more efficiently than using a shovel or a spade. Power Planter Earth Auger creates loose dirt when drilling holes, giving your plants better root-to-soil contact to help reduce plant loss for healthier, more beautiful trees, shrubs, flowers, vegetables, and grass. All of our augers are hand-welded and made in the USA, lifetime warranty. Find the size that fits your project at powerplanter.com.
The Handy Safety Knife is a patented high-quality knife that's worn like a ring, so it's always conveniently at hand and very easy and efficient to work with. That's why you'll find the Handy Safety Knife at work in a wide range of industries and applications. Learn more at handysafetyknife.com.
Use coupon code WVG to get 10% off and free shipping, one-time use only at handysafetyknife.com.
Pomona's Universal Pectin is high-quality pectin that gels reliably with low amounts of any sweetener. If you're trying to reduce the amount of sugar in your diet, you'll love Pomona's Universal Pectin. Now you can make healthy homemade jams and jellies sweetened to your taste. You can use sugar, honey, or any alternative sweetener you'd like. Pomona's Universal Pectin keeps indefinitely when stored in an airtight container. Easy to use, versatile, and comes with directions and recipes in every box. Find out more and where to buy at PomonaPectin.com. Available at most natural food stores and online.
Do you seek safe, effective nutrition solutions to boost your health and quality of life? Standard Process is your trusted whole food supplement manufacturer with 90 years of expertise. Our third-generation family-owned company proudly grows nutrient-rich ingredients at our certified organic farm in Palmyra, Wisconsin, enabling us to produce high-quality whole food solutions that change lives. For help identifying the best supplements for you, find a local healthcare professional today at standardprocess.com/patients.
Flame Engineering, home of the Weed Dragon, the perfect propane torch kit for home and garden use. For killing weeds, no need to pull or spray. 100 other uses. Find out more at flameengineering.com.
Use coupon code WVG19 to get free shipping.
The number one key to healthy, productive plants are the roots. Starting from seed to full-grown plants, rootmaker.com has the answer. From seed starting trays with an innovative design that air prunes the roots, creating a fabulous root system, never again will you have root-bound plants, to multiple gallon grow bag sizes to raised beds. Rootmaker.com has your grow needs covered. Visit rootmaker.com. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show is brought to you by the following: Clyde's Vegetable Planting Chart, Dharmaceutical, Dr. Earth, Flame Engineering, Handy Safety Knife, Hydrobox, Wisconsin Greenhouse Company, M.I. Gardner, Outpost Natural Food Co-op, Rootmaker, Soil Diva, Blue Mills Landscape and Garden Center. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support. Mark your calendars. Next Saturday, August 24th, is the beginning of the second annual Blue Mills Summer Market at Blue Mills Landscape and Garden Center. Over 40 vendors will be there, including Holly and myself. Food, crafts, canned goods, and a whole lot more will be there.
There'll be entertainment and more. You can go to 4930 West Loomis Road in Greenfield, just south of Layton. You can call 414-282-4220 or go to bluemills.com.
They also have the largest supply of bulk material in the area with over 40 selections for you and your landscaping needs. bluemills.com. Failure is just a part of life and gardening. If you're not failing, you're not trying.
This Michigan Garden Moment is brought to you by migardener.com. With over 450 varieties of heirloom and organic flowers, vegetables, and herb seeds, all for 99 cents a pack. Find out more at migardener.com.
We all have had failures in the garden, and we often see failures each year based on what we've done, what we've learned, or what we're trying new. A failure in which we've had this year in our garden is a tremendous amount of weeds. Now, we did do our due diligence and weed properly and often and worked the beds in which we grow in and removed as many roots as possible and tried to keep up with it as best as we could. So with the weeds, it has choked out some of the vegetation which we're trying to grow. So now we have to figure out what's the best move that we can make for coming years. Do we invest and convert our traditional ground garden to raised beds and reduce the size significantly, but increase the productivity because we're bringing in good soil and can control the environment in which the plants grow in much more than we can in the traditional ground? Or do we try different weed barriers or weed-prevented mechanisms in order to grow in the ground? Other failures you may encounter is plants simply dying. Maybe it's not the right variety in your area. Maybe you've overwatered or underwatered it. We can all learn from our failures. It's not wrong to have a failure. It's wrong if you do not learn from it.
This Michigan Garden Moment is brought to you by migardener.com. With over 450 varieties of heirloom and organic flowers, vegetables, and herb seeds, all for 99 cents a pack. Find out more at migardener.com.
It's Doug Oster from Everybody Gardens in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and you're listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, and all your dreams will come true. Not really, but you'll learn to garden.
Holly, let's go to the Ivy Organic 3-in-1 Plant Guard Hotline and bring in our next guest.
Marie Viljoen is a writer, forager, author, cook, and gardener. She resides in Brooklyn, New York, and has a very productive urban garden. She's actually originally from South Africa. Welcome to the program, Marie.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for taking time out of your day to join not only Holly and myself, but all of our listeners and enlighten us with a little more of your wisdom.
I hope I have some wisdom to offer you.
Well, your blog's name is 66 Square Feet, which has a unique story and as to why. Would you share that with us, how you came up with that story or that title for your blog?
That's an easy thing to do. My blog is based on the size of my very first terrace in Brooklyn, New York. And its footprint was exactly 66 square feet large and small. And when I was starting to write a blog, I had no idea what to call it. So I thought, it's going to be about gardening. It's going to be about small spaces. Let me just name it for the size of my little terrace.
Well, that's definitely a fun story. Now, since you're such an urban garden expert, what are some essentials that you feel to an urban garden versus something that you can buy from a farmer's market in regards to an edible plant?
That's quite a difficult question to answer because it depends on who you are, what your tastes are, what you like to cook, what you like to eat. I live in New York City, so we have a very particular climate. We have very cold winters, very humid summers. What I like to grow that's a little unusual is subtropical plants that are edible, and they go outside in the summertime, but they have to overwinter indoors. So one of them is a Thai lime. It's also known as makrut. Many people might know it as a kaffir lime, but this is a name I'm trying to discourage. The K word in South Africa, which is where I'm from, is very similar to the N word in the United States. So this lime can easily be called Thai lime or makrut, and it's delicious. Very, very aromatic, and it's amazing to just be able to walk out onto my terrace and pick this fresh fruit.
Now, with bringing the plant in and out during the winter, how cautious do you have to be about the transition period between in and out?
I'm pretty laid back about it. My basic rule of thumb is I bring them out in late springtime when the overnight temperatures are above 50 degrees Fahrenheit. consistently because the subtropicals and tropicals really don't like to be chilly. But I don't transition them gradually. They go from our really sunny bedroom straight out onto the terrace, and then they just have to get on with it. And then the same thing at the end of the season, usually in October, when the nights dip below 50 degrees Fahrenheit, I bring them indoors again.
So it's all temperature based on when it comes in and goes out and back in.
Pretty much.
Okay, so you are very much into foraging. This can be intimidating for a lot of people. How does one get into foraging?
Well, that's a hard question to answer because foraging is kind of something that's become really popular, and it's not something anyone used to define as foraging. I grew up going to hunt for mushrooms in the fall, for example. It's just something we did. We didn't say we were going foraging. So for me, now that foraging is kind of trending and it's got its own hashtags, my advice generally is, why do you want to get into foraging? Are you interested in wild foods, new flavors? If you're really intimidated about plant identification, it's a great idea to go with someone who is very good at identifying plants. They don't have to be a forager or into edible plants, but you have to learn to ID wild plants. And the best thing to do is start with the first plant you see. What is it? Is it a tree, a shrub, an annual? Learn the differences between those things. You can use a plant app. Picture This is a pretty good app. And then you need to cross-reference. Join a Facebook group online for plant identification or an edible wild plant group. And there are tons of books. There are really good books available that help you with plant identification, foraging field guides, and now recipe books as well. So there are all these resources. But the first thing you have to do is go outside. It's a little bit like gardening. You just have to be there. So go out, take a walk, and see what you find.
So what are your go-to foraging plants there in Brooklyn whenever you go out?
I don't really have go-to foraging plants. Every month is different. Every season, as you know, you're a gardener, has different plants. And what we find in Brooklyn is pretty much what we find all over the United States, depending on geographic region. So right now, we're in August, and what we're foraging at the moment is things like chokecherry, which is a species of aronia. Rose hips are in season, which are these amazing fruits that roses make. Elderberries are in season, so they're a great plant to forage if you want to make syrup to use through the winter and to ward off colds. There's a lot of stuff. Every month is different.
Okay, great. Now, you have two books. One is called Forage, Harvest, and Feast, and the other one is called 66 Square Feet. Can you tell us more about each of them, a synopsis, and maybe something fun or interesting about each of them?
Sure. Forage, Harvest, Feast, a wild-inspired cuisine, is my cookbook, which is totally dedicated to wild plants. It's a very detailed book about 36 of my favorite wild plants, and they range from edible weeds like dandelions and lamb's quarters to indigenous fruits like black cherry, wild black cherry, and pawpaw. And every chapter is about one plant, and then I have tons of recipes for each plant. I really wanted to write a book that gave people the confidence to use a new and unfamiliar ingredient, to show them really the range of that ingredient. So in the book, there is everything from cocktails and syrups and cordials and ferments to snacks, appetizers, soups, entrees, dessert. It's the whole thing. So that's Forage, Harvest, Feast, and Wild-Inspired Cuisine. And then my first book, 66 Square Feet, was pretty much based on that first little terrace. We're now 4 terraces later. We've moved. And it's a look at New York from the perspective of a gardener and a forager and someone who likes to shop at farmers markets. So 66 Square Feet, the book, is really designed to give readers an impression of New York City that most people do not have. I'm not writing about Times Square and Broadway and millions of people. I'm writing about gardening month to month, right from January through to December, and then shopping at farmers markets, what's available, and foraging and enjoying New York's green spaces with a menu, a full-on menu for every single month and chapter. So it has lots of recipes in it too.
Well, in the 66 square feet, many people, I'll categorize some people in that realm, think of New York as just being tall, high-rise buildings and a food desert. But there is a lot of individuals, such as yourself, that grew and grow in very small areas in the heart of the city.
Exactly, and I would think of New York as the absolute opposite of a food desert. I mean, there's the obvious thing in all the restaurants, but there are tons of farmers markets, probably more than in any city in the United States. And these farms are really quite close to the city. And then there are people like me who are just driven to grow food and plants on their little rooftops, on their terraces. And there are lots of community gardens as well. So in terms of green and growing and food, New York is actually a very exciting place to be. And I find that what draws people to the small spaces that I garden in is this surprise that you can actually grow food to eat in a small space. But it's so easy. You need containers, you need some kind of growing media or soil, and you need the plants. And the most important thing is you just need to begin. Buy one plant. If you're a cook, buy a thyme plant or a parsley plant and start tending that plant, looking after it, and you'll grow and acquire the confidence to grow these plants in super small spaces. Obviously, I'm not supporting myself completely from a very small terrace. But every day I cook, almost every day, and I walk straight out to the terrace, pick my herbs, pick my arugula from the window boxes, and it gives you a real sense of connection to the seasons, to real food. You know that it's grown organically if you're an organic gardener like I am. And it's fun. It gives you a lot of pleasure.
Well, that's fantastic. Now, where can we find out more about you and your blog and your books, etc.?
You can find me on Instagram at 66 square feet, the number 66 square feet. I post there daily with lots of my forages or gardening adventures. The blog, it's probably the oldest blog in the world, but it's still there, 66squarefeet.blogspot.com. And if you're interested in exploring wild foods, Forage, Harvest, Feast, a wild-inspired cuisine, is my latest book.
Well, we greatly appreciate you taking time to join us on the program and not only enlighten Holly and myself, but all of our listeners with your wisdom about small space gardening.
Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Well, absolutely. And when we come back, it's all about your garden questions and our garden answers. You can certainly submit a question at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and or at TWVGshow@gmail.com. You're listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show.
Send your questions in now to the IV Organics 3-in-1 Plant Garden Instant Access Text Hotline at 414-368-9311. That number again, text 414-368-9311 and send your garden question in.
The Norwalk Juicer is the best cold-pressed juicer on the market. Studies have shown the Norwalk Juicer produces 50 to 100% more juice than other juicers. And juice from the Norwalk is higher in minerals and nutritionally superior. Not only do you get more juice from your produce, but also better quality juice. Check it out at NorwalkJuicers.com. Use coupon code GardenTalk to get free continental U.S. shipping on the Model 290 juicer.
Root Assassin, a garden tool that does all the root functions with its advanced shovel that has serrated edges on both sides. Find out more information at rootAssassinShovel.com.
Never question your garden soil again. Know what's in your soil with confidence. Professional grade soil test for the home gardener. My Soil Savvy has the easiest soil test on the market. Ship it to them, get your report, emailed with nutrients recommendation, and grow happy, healthy plants. MySoilSavvy.com. Use coupon code TWVG19 and save 10% at checkout.
Garden seeds do not have to cost a fortune, just 99 cents at migardener.com. Now with over 450 varieties of non-GMO, heirloom, and organic
flower, vegetable, and herb seeds available year-round. Pay less and get more seeds. Shipping as low as $2.50. That just makes sense. Go to migardener.com for seeds and garden needs, tools, and special blend fertilizers. migardener.com. It's that simple. Family owned and operated.
Here at Outpost Natural Foods, it's not just that we're community-owned that sets us apart. It's the fabulous foods we sell. We celebrate Earth Day every day by offering our customers the finest natural and organic food selections in Greater Milwaukee. Outpost local farmers and vendors provide our stores with a delicious selection of fresh seasonal produce that you won't want to miss. Outpost stores are located in Milwaukee, Wauwatosa, Bayview, and Mequon. We're a real Milwaukee original where anyone can shop and anyone can join. For the whole scoop about Outpost, we invite you to visit www.outpost.coop.
Pharmaceuticals essential oils are high grade, very pure, and high in quality. They have synergized blends made with the finest raw materials. For more information and to order, visit Pharmaceuticals.com.
The new way to support your tomatoes, wrap it and snap it. Tomatosnaps.com.
Blue Mel's Garden and Landscape Center offers an awesome selection of high-quality garden and landscape products. We have just the plants you're looking for: annuals, perennials, veggies, herbs, and more. Plus, you can always count on us to answer all of your questions and offer expert advice. Blue Mel's also carries the largest selection of bulk landscape materials in the area. Enjoy a beverage from our coffee shop while your kids run around in our huge playground. Join our growing list of highly satisfied customers. Visit the garden center that offers everything you're looking for. Visit Blue Mel's today.
Blue Mel's, 4930 West Loomis Road, 414-282-4220. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is brought to you by the following: Eco Garden Systems, Row Maker, Shield and Seal, World's Coolest Rain Gauge, Big Fats Hot Sauce, Chapin International, Drip Garden, Norwalk Juicers, Nunu Healing Ointment, Phylum Bioproducts, Soil Savvy, Tree Ripe. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden Radio Show with your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
Ivy Organics 3-1 Plant Guard naturally protects plants against damaging sunburn, insects, and rodents, protects newly installed plants and trees, shields pruned and damaged surfaces, protects your roses, fruit, nut, and ornamental trees, and shrubs. This product is non-toxic, environmentally safe, and organic. For more information, visit ivorganics.com. You can send us an email through the Ivy Organics 3-1 Plant email inbox. The address is twvgshow@gmail.com. You can also send us a text on the Instant Access Ivy Organics 3-1 Plant Guard Instant Access text hotline. Send your questions to text us at 414-368-9311. Again, that number is 414-368-9311.
Had a question come in last week from Dan, first-time listener. We appreciate that. He had a question in regards to the inoculation of his elm trees because of ash trees because of the
emerald ash borer.
Emerald ash borer, thank you. And he wanted to know, is the leaves safe to use on his garden this fall?
Right. So that, just for a quick review, ash trees are being taken over by an invasive species called the emerald ash borer. It can eradicate an ash tree. You can inoculate your tree if you feel like if you catch it fast enough and you feel like it's been hit with the emerald ash borer. It depends on what your tree has been treated with. There is a product called azadirachtin, which is also known in the popular term as triazin, and it's an OMRI-listed and it's safe. So if it's an OMRI-listed product like triazin, then you could use your leaves. Yes, that's not a problem. However, if it's something that's not OMRI-listed, it's not safe to use those leaves. And that would include this one called imidacloprid. I don't know how to say imidacloprid. Right, so that's not safe. So if you pay somebody or if you do it yourself, if it's OMRI listed, if it says organic, organic certified, some sort of certification of organic, it's going to be safe. If it's not, then it's not.
And if you had an arborist come do it, get a hold of them and ask them what was the product in which they used. We had a comment come on Twitter last week from Nest with a Yard from North Carolina.
Said, I started listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. It's a lot of fun and full of useful gardening tips. If you're looking for a podcast to pass at the time at home or on your commute, try the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show. Thank you for keeping me entertained on my commutes.
Well, you're very welcome. We appreciate hearing comments like that come in from all over the country. Here's a canning question for you, Holly, since you're a multi-award winning Wisconsin State Fair canner. I am new to canning, and I see people on Facebook having their jars cooling upside down. Is this okay to do?
No, you don't want to turn your jars upside down. We have new food technology, new canning technology, up-to-date technology. The reason why people did that back in the day was to get the paraffin wax to the top of the jar and have it set. That is not necessary anymore.
Let's go to the IV Organics 3-in-1 Plant Guard hotline and bring in, we've got a question from a caller. Hello, you're on the air. Hello, you're on the air.
Yes, I have a question for you.
Yes, go ahead.
I have some creeping, my daughter told me the name of it, but it's creeping something.
Creeping Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie. What can I do for that?
Well, Creeping Charlie is part of the mint family, and part of the mint family, mint's very invasive, and in our large garden, the front yard is overtaken with Creeping Charlie because it roots and then
it's like a web of roots.
Web of roots under the soil. So there are a couple of options. One, there's a chemical option. You can use a glyphosate weed killer. That will kill the whole plant. Like Roundup. That will kill the whole plant. Also can toxify the soil. You can also solarize the area if you can catch it before it spreads too much. Solarization is a means of taking clear plastic or black plastic, covering the area, sealing it down with rocks, stones, logs, and leaving it there for 6-8 months and letting the soil basically bake from the sun. That solarization under the plastic, and then that should kill all the roots, follicles, and the plants. Any other options in which we have?
That's it. I mean, otherwise you just have to kind of embrace it. Unfortunately, it's very invasive and it spreads fast, and that's pretty much your options.
Yeah, chemical application or solarization of the. You can try to remove it, but you're not going to get all the roots out of it. And the problem with trying to weed is that you're going to leave certain roots in there, and the roots can start growing from a very, very small division of chunks. So. Don't have a lot of good news for you, but those are the options in which you can try to utilize the problem in your home or on your property.
Well, thank you so much for that. I'm sorry I called so late.
No, you're fine.
I woke up and heard you talking, and oh my God. But I can't remember all of that, but I hope somebody else heard it that I know, so they wrote it down for me.
All right.
For sure.
Thank you very much.
Called Creeping Charlie.
Yes.
Okay, where can is there a book or something I can get that has that information in it?
Yeah, you can you can get a hold of us. If you stay on the line, we can get your contact information, and we can get the information to you after the show.
Thank you so much. I do appreciate that.
Absolutely. You can also always send us a question via email at twvgshow@gmail.com. How many bush beans can I plant in a 5-gallon bucket? Well, a 5-gallon bucket is a good representation of the square foot garden method, which is a method in which you can plant many different crops per square foot. For beans, bush beans, you can do 9 per square foot, and a 5-gallon bucket is a good representation. It's not quite a square foot. For other examples, in a 5-gallon bucket, you could do 16 radishes, 16 carrots. So it's a good chart to look at, good guideline to grow a lot of produce in a very small area. I have harvested my garlic in late June and hung it in the garage to dry. The plants are all brown. Does this mean that the bulb is at a point where I can cut the tops off and store the bulbs? Yes, that is correct. Once the tops have dried, you can cut the stalk off. We usually cut it about 3 inches above the bulb. And then you can put it in a cool, dry place out of direct sunlight, or not in the fridge, and not in a closed container, unless that closed container is such as a paper bag to where it can breathe. If you put it in a plastic bag or a mason jar or something like that with a lid on it, it's going to mold and it's going to rot because it's just that it needs to be able to breathe properly. Also, now is the time in which you can select the largest bulbs that will in turn have the largest cloves in which you can plant coming up this fall. So you can continue to reuse the stock of garlic that you have. Now we go through and pick ours. We've got several varieties: Spanish Roja, German Hardy, Georgia Crystal, Purple Galaxy, and
based on the variety of garlic, that will indicate how many cloves typically are in a bulb. Some will have 4 or 5, others can have 15. The ones that have more are smaller in stature. That's just the way it is. It's not like you're going to get a massive clove off of a traditionally small sized garlic bulb. So keep that in mind. And we always grow hardneck garlic in the northern portion of the United States. Softneck can be grown and can be grown successfully. We just find that the hardneck variety is better. In addition to the hardneck variety, if you're planting garlic for the very first time, in the spring you're going to have what is called scapes, which if left alone will create a seed pod. But if harvested early, which is recommended, you can utilize those as another harvest. You can saute them, make pesto out of them, do a lot of things with them. And you want to remove that scape as you see it start to curl, because then the energy will be put into bulb development instead of seed production. So, yes, go ahead and save your garlic. If you can get it from the farmer's market now, that would be a good time as well. And plant the largest cloves for the best bulbs in the spring.
Before we get into what's coming up next week on the program, Holly, remind them about the executive sponsor.
The executive sponsor of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show is Power Planter. Planting conditions are always favorable with the Power Planter Earth Auger. No matter what the job is, Power Planter has the right size for you. Simply attach to a drill and let the Power Planter do the work for you. Create planting holes fast and efficiently with ease. No matter the soil type, it does the job effortlessly. Increase your root to soil contact. Leave the shovel and spade in the shed. Hand welded and made in the USA, we offer a lifetime warranty on product defects. Find the size that fits your project at powerplanter.com.
Tune in next week to the program. We're going to go over things that you need to know before you bring your potted plants in for the winter, as well as what leaves are good for the garden and how's the best way to apply them. And our guest, author Summer Rain Oaks, will be with us, and your garden questions will get answered. So tell your friends and do not miss it. Miss any portion of this program or want to revisit it in its entirety, you can do that in a couple of different ways. One, by going to your favorite podcast providing website and searching the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show. You can also go to the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, clicking on the radio tab at the top of the page for full length, or the highlight tab on the right hand side for segments of all past shows. Until next week, for Holly Baird, I'm Joey Baird, and we will see you in the garden.
You have been listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show. Tell a friend and join Joey and Holly again next week so we can all grow together. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show is a production of the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com in association with WI Garden Media Broadcast live from the WNOV 860 AM and the W293CX 106.5 FM. Courier Communication Studios in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.